This is the Frugal Gardener, and for those of you who have stumbled across my channel for the first time, I post videos on gardening on the cheap, gardening on a budget, how to save money while you garden. If you have not seen any of my videos before, I encourage you to go back and look at some of the ones that I put up from 5-6 years ago. I've been around for a while. There's been some changes. I'm doing a vlog this year. It's hotter than what I expected it to be because the neighbors was having their grass cut, which does not make for good audio when you are trying to film a video. So this is kind of a weekly update for me. It's hot. I'm going to get started now because I have a couple of things I need to talk to you guys about today. So one of them, before I tell you exactly what it is, I'm going to show you. These are cantaloupe, and there's also a tomato plant growing up in there. Here is mostly potatoes. This, again, I'm not going to deal with the squirrels. I'm not going to go off on the squirrels again today, but this is squash. This is what I wanted to show you. So here are my squash blossoms, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have several coming up. This thing is about 10 feet tall right now if you were to hold it up. But over here, this is my cucumbers. And if you look close, you'll see the flowers coming up on the cucumbers. And over there is watermelon. There's another cucumber back there. I'm going somewhere with this, just hang on. And look at all the buds, the flowers that I have coming up from my Gatorade bucket for my cantaloupe that's growing here. Now, there's one thing that you don't see, and that's bees. There's been a lot of construction this spring. A lot of trees and shrubs and bushes and plants have been torn down, and it didn't occur to me that I was going to take the bees with them. I guess I should have figured that out, but I didn't. And now I'm reminded of a couple of videos I've watched from a guy named Lead Farmer 73. This guy, he's a character. He does it all. He has rabbits, he has chickens. He is primarily a gardener, which is the reason why I have been watching him for a while now. But he also has bees. So now I'm kind of wishing that I had taken his advice and gotten a couple of beehives, or a couple of setups, so that I would attract more bees. So now I can either wait and see what happens, which I don't intend to do, or I can try and rectify the problem by bringing in more plants that actually attract bees, which is what I'm probably going to do. So that's the situation there. I do have something going that I'll show you before the end of the video that I think is going to help me with that situation. So now, moving on, I'm hearing the frugal daughter, and by extension, the frugal granddaughter in my ear saying, keep it moving, Dad. So I'm going to keep it moving. For the last few weeks, I have been distributing my sweet potato slips and also my purple yam slips, which are doing very well. You can see them right here. And there's some here. I transfer some here, some here, some here, and some here. But you guys don't know the half of it. That's not even half. Every time I grow some, every time I transfer them, I end up growing more slips. And I don't want to not use them. So I'm over here in the shade now. This is my setup. Changes pretty much week to week. This was my last spring harvest. I did a video on that. If you check back 1 or 2 videos, you'll see that these are a couple of Yukon Golds, and most of these are russet on the right, and obviously red potatoes on the left. This is elephant garlic here. Here's garlic here. This is store-bought garlic that I am growing, and that's doing pretty good. Also some string beans. But here's what I'm talking about. This I showed you before. These are still what I have left to plant, which I'm going to do today. And I keep getting them from off of this guy here, which at some point I'm going to just have to plant the whole thing. I mean, next week is the 4th of July. So it takes at least 100 days to grow sweet potatoes. We're going into July. This is the end of, obviously, the end of June. So July, August, September, we're talking October. So I'm going to have to stop being greedy and just put an end to this. Look at this. I mean, there's got to be more than a half a dozen here, but I'm going to take care of that today. But there's another situation I have to deal with. Here's some of my potatoes. I actually put coffee grounds in this the other day, and then I just covered it with some soil, and I'm going to have to weed these carrots. As a matter of fact, I just got more carrots today. This just came in the mail a few hours ago. So that has to be tended to. So now I'm going to show you the second issue that I'm dealing with today. And boom. I think I'm going to entitle this video Plan B, or something similar to that. Like, you have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to make adjustments when things don't go well in the garden or things don't go as planned. I had a serious issue, 2 serious issues. Well, I guess 1 serious and 1 not so serious. This was a serious issue. I planted all this stuff in the early spring. It didn't come up, so I replanted it. But when I replanted it, it was hot outside. So the seeds kept drying out on me, because this is a bit of a distance from my front door, which means I would have to come out here a couple of times a day and water these. So I probably could have put a napkin or something over it. But if you look real close, you'll see there is spearmint growing here, and there is sage growing here. So what my plan is, this coincides with my second issue, which was the animals eating my peanuts that I planted. And here we are, success. This is a peanut plant. This is a peanut plant. I'm starting to get a couple coming up, but not nearly as many as I wanted. So what I did, again, if you saw my previous video, I planted starters in containers like here, here, and here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I've decided to do with these is to put one in here. I'm not going to bother this because this is nothing about, looks like it's doing okay. I'll let that be. I'm going to put 1 in here where the rosemary is. I'm going to put 1 in where the lavender is. And I'm going to probably put 1 in where the spearmint is. Why? Because I don't want to do double work. I don't want to destroy anything I've already done. So let's say I put a peanut plant in here, and the spearmint grows, and I get peanuts. And I guess you're probably thinking, well, how are you going to harvest the peanuts without disturbing the spearmint? Well, I'll wait until the spearmint gets up to a decent height, and then I'll transfer it. This way, I get the best of both worlds. the spearmint doesn't come up, if the rosemary doesn't come up, if the lavender doesn't come up, then I'll still get peanuts because they're all ready to go. Now, keeping it moving. I'm going back to basics. I did a series a couple of years ago called The Frugal Gardener Going Back to Basics. This is me going back to basics again. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday rounding up containers that I was not using that you saw early in the spring. And yes, I had to go out and buy soil, which I don't know how that got in or even what it is. But every single one of these containers is going to be used for either growing more peanuts, like you see here, or the slips that you saw at my workstation, or I'm going to try, once you don't succeed, try again. This rosemary doesn't look like it's doing what I want it to do. This spearmint doesn't look like it's doing what I want it to do. So I'm going to take shallow pans like this, and I'm going to replant in here instead of in here. In other words, this is a done deal. Once the peanuts go in here, that's it for the summer. I don't have time to make any more adjustments because in a few days it's going to be July. So all these today are going to get the slips from the purple yams. I believe all the sweet potato slips are in, and this way whatever doesn't go in there, I will put the peanuts once they germinate from here, because they can't live here for the entire summer. So I have special plans for this guy here because I try to grow carrots year round. Just had a conversation with my son-in-law the other day about carrots, and some of his are doing well and some of them are a bit stubborn. You can grow carrots during the summer, but it's not as easy because they like it cool. 60 degrees, 65 degrees. When you get into the 80s, it might be cool for music and nostalgia, but it's not good for growing carrots. So I'm taking a risk, but I'm going to move this under my shade cloth, and hopefully that will be enough to get them to germinate and grow. Now, I was telling you about my sweet potatoes and my purple yams. Here's more. Here's a pot here, here's a pot here, there's a pot there, and just imagine how big sweet potatoes are, imagine how big yams are, and look at the size of these pots. It's not going to cut it. So what I'm going to end up doing is the same thing I did here. I'm going to end up having to get another container or bin and add it to what I already have here, and that should do it. We'll see. But I'm almost done here. As a matter of fact, I should have stayed on the other side. Here's my other possible solution. I harvested these guys from here and here. And if this looks familiar, it's because these are also peanuts. So in here, I'm growing, well, nothing's come up yet, but I'm growing more tomatoes in here. And I'm not sure exactly what I put in here, but guess what? Here's another plant from the yams that I harvested. So that's pretty much it. The last thing I have to show you, hope you can ignore the train, is the the sorghum. This is what I trying to adjust this. So sorghum is a replacement for sugar. I kind of experimented with it last summer. I had like one, maybe two of these, and this is the real deal this year. I'm going for it. Now, if it's a sugar replacement, then obviously it's sweet. This, in a couple of weeks, you're going to start to see the actual plant, the actual, I don't know if you call them crowns or the actual part that you harvest. This is what I'm hoping will attract the bees. This is what I'm hoping will give me the amount of bees that I need to comfortably pollinate what I'm growing. I did some research, and roughly about a third of all the food that we grow in this country is pollinated by bees. So we need them, and that's basically it. I've shown you pretty much what's going on right now, and at this point I'm going to do what I can. I don't know if I'm going to do all that today, but I'm going to do most of it today. Whatever I don't do today, I'll do tomorrow, because I'm not trying to be out here in this heat. As a matter of fact, this is it. I really appreciate you guys. I thank you for subscribing. I thank you for stopping by. I've been posting 2 or 3 times a week. This is a little coffee that I had left over. I feed my leftover coffee to my plants. I usually put it in my tomato plants. It has nitrogen. It's leftover. No cream, no sugar, just straight black coffee. So again, thanks for stopping by. Please hit the bell at the top. Please post your questions, your comments at the bottom of this video. And like I said, check out some of my older videos. I have videos on shade cloths, videos on potatoes, videos on how to save money on gardening. There's tons and tons of videos. So until the next time, remember, when you grow your own food, you'll always know where it comes from. This is the Frugal Gardener, and I will see you guys on the next video in a couple of days.